Clemson's Avieon Terrell is a first-round prospect and checks plenty of boxes to become a plus-level NFL starting cornerback.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst for Bleacher Report. That's Keith Sanchez. He is a director of scouting with the Draft Network and 2019 national champion for those LSU Tigers. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. Is all because of you. NFL bloodlines for Avieon Terrell, younger brother of A.J. Terrell for the Atlanta Falcons, coming out of Clemson. We're going to talk about the pros, the cons, explaining the grade, and what makes him a future first-round pick. Let's get into it. 5'11", 186. I believe he's 21 years old, so still a young player in itself. Keith, he didn't do it most of the athletic testing. He ended up tweaking his hamstring at the combine, if I remember correctly. He didn't test because of that hamstring issue at the pro day last week. He said he's going to hold an individual workout for scouts, a private workout for the scouts, where he'll be able to do everything once he's fully healthy. When you look at Avieon Terrell, Keith, and what he brings to the table, what is that #1 trait that's going to help him be successful in the league?
Man, the knack for creating turnovers. I'm gonna start at the very top of the show because we always talk A trait, superpower. DP is a young man and just 2025 registered 5 forced fumbles. Five forced fumbles at the cornerback position, which is, I mean, it's just thoroughly impressive, right? And those type of things, they translate, right? And I feel like you can go back to like the Tyrann Mathieu, right? And because he might have been one of the first, right? Tyrann Mathieu, obviously, peanut punch, Peanut Tillman, give him his credit also. But I think with Tyrann being an undersized corner, it was like, okay, creating these turnovers, and that was such a big part of his game. It was like, can you do it consistently, right? And I think he showed that is a part that can potentially translate from college to the NFL. I just look at Avieon Terrell and I say, man, like his uncanny knack for creating turnovers, I just think is impressive. I think he had 9 passes defensed on the season, right? I'm not sure if he recorded an interception or not, but to me, the way he plays, I see a young man that I don't question necessarily his ball skill. So I would say the ability to create turnovers and then the versatility to play inside and outside. He's a guy that can line up on the outside, match up with outside wide receivers, but then also he's technically sound playing nickel too. He's technically sound at both of them. He has the technique. He's comfortable in both spaces, right? Both of them he's good with. So I think the versatility and the ability to create turnovers are Avieon Terrell's A traits.
No, 100%. He plays bigger than his size. And for me, Keith, I think he's one of the more natural movers at the cornerback position in this class. I love his footwork, the click and close. And it's like this since he was a freshman. You know what I mean? Playing off coverage, a guy that can get back in the phase in a hurry, good explosiveness downhill, and especially that at the break point of wide receivers' routes, he closes with immense quickness to meet the ball to the receiver. And then if he, being able to, if he has the right angle and everything, he can get to their hands, rake the ball out, knock the ball out, does little nuance and detailed things like pulling the arm down to try and force that PBU to you. Like you mentioned, he didn't have an interception this year. He did have the 5 PBUs. He might have had a dropped interception or so. Felt like he might have had one he didn't reel in. But this is a guy that man coverage, zone, off. To me, he's one of those ideal guys that you want in if he's going to play press man alignment. I want him to kind of soft press. I don't want him and for those people because a lot of people I see it a lot if when they highlight a wide receiver in corner in one-on-one situations in whether college football, NFL, and people will tweet out, man, why didn't he get hands on him? And I was like, because he improperly played soft press. Like Soft press doesn't mean you don't press. It just means you don't aggressively press. Like, let the guy dictate where he's going. Okay, he releases. Then you get your hands on. You don't just let him get a free release and gear up to top speed and think you're just going to run with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You still
it's because people, when you think press coverage, right, they look at the top part. And they look at the hands on, right, and being able to like just grab them, right. But I always say, like, my time at LSU, right, what I learned was that you press with your feet, right. Like that's the most important part of it. You have that footwork, because if you just have a corner that get out there and stand still and try to grab the wide receiver, well, that's 5 different versions of penalties, right? That's holding, that's interference, that's right. So you have to move your feet. So press is essentially disrupting the timing and release, right? Of the receiver being able to go, I guess, just in a straight line, right? Like you want them to move lateral. That's the purpose, is for them to move lateral and then being able to disrupt timing.
Yeah, disrupt the timing, eliminate that timing. That's a big key to it, Keith. And I think when you look at him, and I'm looking at some numbers here, he spent 35.6% of his snaps he was used in press. He played in the slot 17%. He was in man coverage 42%, and he was in zone 57.5% per, I think it's Sumer or Summer Sports, SUMER sports.com. You go check out their stuff. Really good analytics that they have over there. They have a percentage thing is like pass breakup percentile. He's 81st in this class at the cornerback position, because he does break up passes. And I think the instincts that he plays with, you could tell he's a brother of somebody in the NFL. Like he's in the bloodline.
He's very technically sound, and that's why I say, like, it's difficult to be technically sound at both, right? Playing outside and inside, but you can tell he's been doing this for a very, very long time. Just playing the cornerback position, and getting just a high level of reps and learning not only to just play the position, but play the position the right way, right? Like, it's one thing to just line up at nickel and it's like, okay, I'm playing nickel to play nickel, but it's another thing to play nickel and play it properly, because it requires a different skill set. It's different timing. It's different tempo you have to use, right? And you have different threats, right? When you're playing in the nickel, there's no sideline, right? So you have to figure out, how do you handle and how do you play it? And there are different routes that you're more likely to see from the slot position versus the outside position, and route combinations and things like that. But both of them are sound. I want to do this. I want to talk about him, because we talked about the forced fumbles. I want to talk about him inserting himself in the run game, because if he's going to play some nickel, that's very important, right? That he can count on him in the run game. I thought he was a young man that showed up. He's not the biggest guy in the world, right? I think what 180 something pounds, right? So
186,
yeah, 186, right? So he's not going to be your strong safety and come in and thump people, but he gets in the mix. He mixes it up. He gets around the football. He tries to make plays on the football. And then, like you say, he's that prime guy that, cool, y'all hold him up, I'm going to strip him, right? I'm going to punch the football out. We'll be able to create a turnover. I just really appreciated his natural instincts for the game. With these guys, DP, I don't want to be remiss on just passing up on good football players, right? And we could get into the measurables, and I'm sure we'll talk about that next segment, but watching Avieon Terrell, I'm just like, yeah, this is an NFL player. Like he knows how to play the game of football at a high level.
No, 100%. And I think the mentality he plays with, the grit, the toughness, all of it. I have an interesting comp for those at the end of the show that I think people are going to really like when it comes down to Avieon Terrell. And like I said, zone, man, it doesn't really matter. Like he's going to be able to fit.
I can't wait to say my comp. I almost say my comp.
I almost did the same thing.
I just want to blurt it out, to be honest. I just want to say it.
I almost did it. But I think he's going to be a guy that a defensive coordinator loves, because of the technicality to his game, and like knowing that, hey, I could call zone, I can play man. I go back to that first game against LSU, and then Aaron Anderson was a thorn in their side in that game. I think he might have had over 100 yards or close to 100 yards. And the one time that I think it's Tom Allen and Tim Allen, whichever the heck the DC's name is, for Clemson. The one time he let Avieon Terrell go man to man against Aaron Anderson, he locked it down. You know what I mean? I was just like, you should probably do this a little more in this game and take away all this quick stuff. Instead, he stayed in this shell. Garrett Nussmeier, LSU dunked their way down the field and scored. And I'm just like, all right, you know what I mean? This is what hurts your draft prospects, draft status, because people think they're not as impactful as they are, but it's not so much them, it's about what the scheme and what you're doing. I think this guy fits into any scheme you want to run in the NFL.
Yep, I agree. DP, we have to flip the coin, right? We have to turn the page and talk about the concerns. What are the concerning parts of Avieon Terrell's game? We'll talk about that coming up next.
Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and one of the positions you still have to fill is sitting open. When the pressure's on, you need the right hire. This is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Breaking down the concerns of Clemson star cornerback Avieon Terrell is what we're doing next. But guys, join the Everydayer Club now with the code MARCH and get your first month free. If you sign up before the NCAA tournament tips off this Thursday, you can compete in our men's and women's bracket pools on Discord. The winner in each will get $100 in locked on merchandise. The rest of us can commiserate in the members only chats as our brackets have been completely blown up. And as a member of the club, you will also get an ad-free version of this show. Again, it's all free for a month with the code MARCH at LockedOnNFLDraft.supercast.com. Concerns, Keith. He came in again for height and weight 5'10, 5'11, 186 pounds. He had a wingspan of 75 and a half with arm length of 31. We didn't get a chance, of course, to see the speed on display because of the hamstring situation. When you look at the concerns projecting to the NFL, what is it for Avieon Terrell for you?
Yeah, I think when you talk about the elite of the, I'm going to say this, not the elite of the elite wide receiver, because receivers come in different sizes and shapes.
Mm-hmm.
The elite measurable wide receivers, right? The AJ Browns, the DK Metcalf when they're in their prime, these Nico Collins, right? These really big, powerful, strong, athletic wide receivers, and them just simply boxing them out, right? And using their wide catch radius to still be able to make plays, right? And that can come just to kind of give a real life instance, right? I always talk about running a slant, right? 3rd and 5, give me the slant, right? Is that wide receiver going to be able to box out Avieon Terrell on the outside, shield him away? The quarterback has a window to throw to because he's just basically throwing it in front of the receiver away from Avieon Terrell, right? And clear path. Or are we talking 3rd and 7 and I got to hit your curl on the outside, right? And he's able to push vertical and then just work back to the football, and then he's just bigger and stronger and out muscle Avieon Terrell on the outside. So it's a specific wide receiver that potentially could give Avieon Terrell concerns just when it comes to the length perspective. To me, that's the biggest one.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you because we see that happen in the NFL. Heck, I mean, I like to tie basketball and football. It's literally like running the pick and roll and your power forward, getting the point guard on them, and he take it right to the post. Like, throw it into the paint. You know what I mean? And things of that nature. I can box this guy out. I can back him down in the paint, and I can get easy points. And that's going to be because I think going back to that LSU game, right? They got him matched up, who I thought at the time was a receiver, but Trey'Dez Green is a tight end.
Yeah.
And I was out, but again, here go back to coaching. How in the world do we let that 6'7" guy get matched up on our 5'11" corner and they just throw a fade, and there's no help over there, nothing. And I'm just like, so that's definitely the biggest concern is the size. Because when you do, he's gonna be a matchup based corner, and you want him to go to a team that's gonna allow him to be that, not just say, hey, no matter who the number one receiver is, you got him. Like, listen, I'm not saying that Avieon Terrell's gonna be up for the challenge. He'll cover whoever you ask him to cover. But from a success standpoint, I'd rather have someone bigger, more physical against the bigger, more physical guys. You brought up, I think you brought up Emmanuel Forbes. I think it was on yesterday's pod when we talked about Jamal McCoy.
Yep.
And remember that first year? And who, I can't, was it Gus Bradley or whoever it was in Washington with the Commanders after he was drafted, whoever the DC was, they kept putting him in man-to-man situations. They put him against, was it DJ Moore? AJ Brown. I'm gonna say AJ Green, AJ Brown, and you just see him like he's like, okay, I can be in the hip pocket, but these dudes are just bigger, stronger, more physical than me. Yeah, and it was like, but then you fast forward to 2025, and it's still the same problem. He goes up against Jalen Coker, and Coker is like, man, mouse in the house, get this. Hey, throw me the ball, Bryce. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like one of them situations where like I've never seen Coker be more confident. He knows I got a mismatch because you physically can't, and it's also the play style. Like you want to press me, and I'm like 20 to 25 pounds heavier than you probably. That's not a smart thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I look at Avieon Terrell, that is a concern. Like, okay, if you're playing a team that has a big, strong, playing the Bengals, you don't get to take a break. Truthfully, the Bengals 3 starting wide receivers, if they go 11 personnel, you got Jamar Chase, who loves physicality, T. Higgins, who's 6'4", 200 plus pounds, and Andre Yoshevas, who's also 6'3", 200 plus, and he can run. Like, you don't get a break from size and from the body type. So I think that's going to be a big thing. The arm length, the wingspan, that's why I keep the wingspan stuff is more so I want people to focus on when you think about arm length and wingspan, because I've seen corners or players that have, okay, I got 32-inch arms, and then you look at the wingspan compared to somebody who has 31s, you're like, his wingspan's better than yours. You know what I mean? So I look at the wingspan is 75 and a half and everything, and I just think about adding on to the point of the size. It's not just, like I said, being boxed out. Can you play through the frame to get to the hands? Right. So that's why the angling is going to be so important. If you're playing 5 yards off, you're playing off man coverage. And you know what I mean? It's like Coach Prime always talking about, I hate the T-step or whatever. Like when he was on NFL Network during the combine, if you're backpedaling and now you T-step, whatever, like you got to trigger down, you might trigger on the slant, but you might have to be out in front. So if the ball's there, you can knock the ball out. Because if you're kind of on that upfield shoulder, you might not be able to reach where the receiver, because a smart receiver with size going to use his full arm length and wingspan to just catch the ball away from his frame and not give you the opportunity to play the ball. So I think that's going to be really those big things and everything. And I worry, Keith, will some teams pigeonhole him as a slot, as a nickel, right? I don't think you should. But, I mean, if it's a matchup situation, yeah, you move him around. But I don't think he has to play nickel. But I worry that some teams are going to look at what we're talking about. They're probably having the same conversations in their war rooms and in their scouting departments. And like, you know what? He might be a nickel.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's definitely a conversation that's going to happen, right? That will happen in NFL, because you just look at the body profile. And I think that's what we talked about with Jamal McCoy. And I was saying that he doesn't necessarily look like a nickel, right? He don't fit the prototype nickel build. So, but Trent, I was about to give away my NFL count. Avieon Terrell fits the mold of NFL nickel. DP, let's go ahead and transition, because I'm not gonna be able to hold on to it too much longer, man. Coming up next, we're going to explain the grade. We're going to give out our grades, explain the grade, and the NFL draft comp. Coming up next.
What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time. with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not just you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. And now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. It's all because of you. It's time to explain our grades and give you the NFL comps. Keith, I give you the floor. What grade do you have on Avieon Terrell, star cornerback out of Clemson, and what is your NFL comp?
Yep, DP. So yesterday when we did this, right, for yesterday's podcast, Jamal McCoy, I was all over the place, right? I had a few names that I threw out there, and I'm like, take a little bit of this, mix it with a little bit of that. You know, like I was pulling from different areas, right? This one, DP, I feel great about this NFL comp. I feel really good about this. I am standing on a table. If I am on the mountain by myself, it's okay because it is my mountain, right? I am rocking and rolling. My NFL comp is none other than Trent McDuffie. I'm going with it. And here's why I'm going with the DP. First of all, when I look at the height weights, they're almost identical. They both came into the NFL Combine. Trent McDuffie was 5'11", 193, right? Avieon Terrell's 5'11", 186, right? The conversation around Trent McDuffie, remember coming out the NFL draft, was what? A lack of length, right? You want to know why? Because his arm was 29 inches and 3/4, right? Avieon Terrell's arm is 31 inches. So he gives you about an inch and a half more on the arm. But look at this, even down to the hand, DP. Trent McDuffie's hand, 8 inches and 3/4. Avieon Terrell, 8 inches and 5/8. I couldn't find a better NFL comp. And listen, just when it comes to the versatility, and remember Trent coming out of Washington, right? Him and Kyler Gordon was in the same draft class, I believe. And coming out of Washington and just watching his versatility, watching his like his knack just to make plays on a football. He was scrappy. He was tough. I just see a lot of similarities in their game and what they can do. And to put those lofty expectations, obviously, we're talking about Trent McDuffie, an all-pro corner, right? But we have to remember, in that moment, people liked Trent McDuffie, but they didn't love him. I had a first-round grade on him, but I don't think people projected that he was going to be an all-pro player. So it's like, man, this is a really good nickel corner. But this is the part that I was talking about, DP, where we can't skip over the football, right? Like we still have to be like, man, like what inserts and what translates is that they're playing football, right? So like grade the guys on playing football. And the thing was that you can see on film for Trent McDuffie was that he's a really good football player. I feel the same way about Avieon Terrell. Obviously, situations matter. Him going to Kansas City, with the defensive coordinator, I'm blanking on his name. But
Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, Steve Spags, right? Being one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL, and just the versatility, the different things he does on the back end, he'll put you in position. The other part of this too, Avieon Terrell being a really good blitzer. And that's something we didn't talk about in the pros. I got to pull up the numbers for the sacks and stuff and just his impact on the game in that facet. But I just see this guy, if he's playing nickel in certain coverages, you want to drop. I don't want to say safety, right? But if there's certain moves where he has to play 10 yards off, right, because of the different formations that are thrown at him. If you need him to play outside because he has to go with a wide receiver outside, he's just a versatile defensive back piece for me. That is just a natural football player.
Yeah, no, I mean, heck, there was a rep I was watching the other night when I was getting prepared for this show last night, and there was a rep, I can't remember which game it was, might have been Louisville, where he's kind of I think he was on the boundary, and they motioned all the receivers to the field, and he basically, the safety walked down into the box, into the nickel, and he rotated over the top and played safety. And I was like, just that versatility of what you can do with a player like Avieon Terrell. Keith, for me, my grade, I have him as an 85 first round pick, impact player. I think this is a kid that, again, we talked about it. He plays everywhere if you need him to. Slot, outside, zone, man, it doesn't matter. The instincts are top tier, good ball skills, everything is there for him. My comp, like Keith, I went to measure stuff up, right?
Okay.
This guy, crazy enough.
I was worried you were going to take my comp. Yes, I was a little nervous.
Nah.
That's why I wanted to go first, because I wanted to get this out.
Nah, listen, this guy he went higher than I think Avieon Terrell's going to go, but I could see him having the same type of career trajectory. Devin Witherspoon with the Seattle Seahawks, 5'11 and a half, 180 pounds, wingspan of 73 and 5/8 per mock draftable. Hand size was 8 and 7/8. Avieon Terrell, 5'10 and 3/4, 186 pounds, 75 and a half. So he's got a longer wingspan. He came in with 31-inch arms. That's what I was just talking about, guys. Devin Witherspoon had 31 and a quarter, and Avieon Terrell came in with 31 even, but his wingspan is longer. So about 2 inches longer almost. You know what I mean? Or inch and a half, whatever. 8 and 5/8 in the hand for Avieon Terrell. The thing with Devin Witherspoon, he ran, of course, it was the private pro day workout situation back in 2023. The rumor was that he ran between 4.39 and 4.42, whatever the case may be. So we'll see how that plays out whenever his, because like I said, he didn't test at his pro day last week. So I think it's supposed to be sometime this month when he's feeling healthy from the hamstring, what he runs and everything. But I think the same type of just aggression and physicality, playing bigger than their size, the footwork, playing in off coverage, zone, man, clicking and closing, all of it. I think it's so similar between the two players. It's just a simple fact of Devin Witherspoon, to me, coming out of college that last year, was put in a position to where he could really showcase everything, and it was easy to watch film on him. Clemson didn't do that for none of their prospects this year. And I feel like they kind of hurt the perception of an Avieon Terrell. Same way they hurt the perception of a Peter Woods and Cade Klubnik. Like, the coaching staff didn't do a proper job with those guys. I think Avieon Terrell and Devin Witherspoon are a lot closer than people probably would initially have felt. And like, hey, Devin Witherspoon is one of the best because he plays in nickel too. Like you know what I mean? Like, he plays in the nickel as well. So he does a lot of different things for the Seahawks defense. And I think you get Avieon Terrell with a creative and aggressive play caller similar to Mike McDonald. You get him with somebody that knows what they're doing. This young man's NFL career could be very, very successful.
Yeah, DP. So I'm gonna say this, that I have Avieon Terrell right now as my CB1 in this draft class. And reason being,
he's my CB3 right now.
CB3. I'm most comfortable with him. Like I feel like watching him, I know exactly what I'm going to get. And I feel like it can, like, a game to game, like every single game is going to be the same exact thing, just because not just his resume, right? Like, not just but just the consistency of what he does down in and down out, being able to play man, being able to play off, just different things, move inside and move outside. And maybe his ceiling, may not be as high as other people's, right? But this goes into the ceiling conversation that we consistently have of drafting for the ceiling versus drafting the guys that show you that, hey, I'm a really good football player at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's going to be a successful pro. He's a matchup-based corner and everything. Similar to Devin Witherspoon. You know what I mean? Like, we turn on the Seahawks tape when you going up against a Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, don't get me wrong. Devin Witherspoon had his moments where he covered them too. But I'm pretty sure, because I think this was even early in the season of 2025 when Marv was going through that lull with the Cardinals, and you could see he just looked dejected. I think it was against the Seahawks, against Devin Witherspoon. He went over the top and just, basically dunked on him. It was a contested catch.
It was a Thursday night game, Sunday night game.
Thursday night game.
Yeah, yep. I
Yep.
remember that.
And he went over the top, snatched the ball from him because he got up and for the first time in his career showed emotion, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Where he's always been kind of an even keel guy, but that's where the size and lack of length and stuff like that showed up. It's like, listen, especially after the trash that Devin Witherspoon talked after that rookie year from Marvin. He's like, oh, he's an easy guy to cover. I'm like, you kind of got to convert that situation. You know what I mean? When you talk about he's an easy guy to cover, you kind of got to stop that. Yeah, 100%. Shout out to him, man. He was one of my favorite corners. You know what I mean? But when you watch the Seahawks defense, you will see that's why you have a Tariq Woolen. Because you can allow him to match up with the big guys that are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", the Cortland Suttons of the world. You could do that. Now, they don't have Tariq this year. He's in Philly.
Yeah, with players like this, DP, I think it's very important that coordinators lean into the versatility part of them, right? And because, I mean, you even go back to like a Tyrann Mathieu, you know, I discussed at the beginning of the show, like he was a nickel / safety, right? But when he entered college football, he was a corner, like he was an outside corner, and then finding a role for him to say, wait, like, can we put this 175-pound kid at nickel and watch him in the nickel position is so important because you're close to the football, right? Like you have run responsibilities and you have passing game responsibilities, right? Like and you're right there by the football all the time, or at least the start of the play, right? Like you're starting right by the football. So I think if you put him somewhere where versatility and not in versatility with the coordinator, but just something what you mentioned with Tariq Woolen too, is that the defensive back room is versatile, right? That like he's playing with pieces that aren't just similar to him. It's pieces that they do their own thing. So then now he has the opportunity to roam and be free and allowed to do what he wants to do.
What do we always say about building the receiver core, Keith? I want to build it like a basketball team. It's the same thing with DBs. Like I keep saying, guys, Steph Curry is one of the best of all time. You know what Steph Curry is not about to do? Beat Shaq. Like, you know, defend Shaq. I can't have 5 Steph Currys on the floor. We're going to score a lot of points. We're about to give up a ton, too, because we don't match up size-wise. Like, that's just is what it is, right? So I think that's one of them situations. Luka Doncic is a great player. No, Luka can't play center. You know what I mean? So I want him matched up on guys he matches up with. And it's the same thing with corners and receivers. I want to have a corner like a Tariq Woolen. You know what I mean? Guys like that, or, you know, Devin Moore's from Florida. I want these taller corners to match up with those bigger body guys. It's the same thing. I mean, what was it in college, Keith, where Calvin Austin, he faced Tariq Woolen in college. And it's like that still shot at them in man coverage. And you see this super tall, long arm receiver corner playing off coverage, off man, and you see this little 5'7" receiver. You're like, what is this? You know what I mean? It don't look right. You know what I mean? So that's one of them situations, man. I think, you know, Avieon Terrell, like you said, whoever drafts him, lean into the versatility of him, but also having that versatility of having those other corners that can go one-on-one with the bigger guys, and you put him on the advantageous matchups. The quick, because I don't want my big corner against these super shifty electric receivers.
That's the other side.
That's a matchup problem itself.
Yeah, it's not a knock. It's just it's body anatomy, right? Like just how it's formed. Yeah, like those shorter, quick, shifty wide receivers, they give the 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" corners problems just because they change direction at a different speed. So yeah, it's just different, man. It's just different. But DP, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us. We like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. On tomorrow's show, we've talked Cardell Tate, we talked Jordan Tyson. It's time we go ahead and put Makai Lemon underneath the spotlight for our scouting series and talk about his game, the pros, the cons, explaining the grade, and any comps that we do have. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.